You're watching Medfield TV.
Welcome to Mupdates, your monthly Medfield updates. I'm Audrey. Today we're covering what happened in January 2020. On January 6th, there was a Parks and Recreation information session held at the FAF Center. Director of Parks and Recreation, Kevin Ryder, introduced the purpose of the meeting.
Here to ask you guys input on what you would like to see in the building. We have some questions throughout this presentation to kind of get your input, your thoughts, because as much as we might know collectively, we also want to know what the public wants to know and what they would see as what they would want involved in a new park and rec center. Ultimately, it's going to be a public building. It's not Kevin's building, it's not the commission's building, it's a public building for public use. So we want to get the public's input on that.
Consultants gave an informational presentation on 2 location options, including the Dale Street site and the Hospital Road site. After the presentation, those who attended the meeting participated in a couple of activities regarding the advantages and disadvantages of each site, as well as the uses of the FAF Center in general and what they'd like to see in a new building. If you'd like to view the full meeting, check it out on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. In the Selectmen meeting on January 7th, Selectman Marcucci joined by phone. DPW Director Maurice Goulet requested the Selectmen vote to approve the recycling contract with E.L. Harvey & Sons.
Our price is $85 a ton for the recycling. Our trucking cost to haul it out of our transfer station is $180 per load. And we have a $55 rental for the boxes that they bring in for us to compact it into.
And so that's up $10 on the first 2, and it stays the same on the third?
Correct. Okay. Yeah. And our prices are pretty competitive with a lot of the other cities and towns. Actually, we're on the low end compared to some of the other cities that we compared ourselves to. Somewhere around in the 90s, or high 80s, we're at 85.
I would move to approve the recycling contract with E.L. Harvey & Sons, Inc.
Okay, I second the motion. Selectman Peterson?
Yes.
Selectman Marcucci?
Yep.
And Selectman Murby, aye. So that passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mo.
Town Administrator Christine Trierweiler also requested that the Board of Selectmen accept the grant award and sign the contract for the FY20 Municipal ADA Improvement Grant Program. Trierweiler gave credit to Assistant Town Administrator Nick Milano for being responsible for submitting the application and receiving the grant.
And actually, I think Nick can explain to you the grant program. He should take the credit for submitting the application and receiving the grant.
Okay.
Sure, this a couple-of-year-old program under the state to encourage municipalities to either update or do a self-evaluation transition plan for Americans with Disabilities Act. It's a requirement under the ADA Act. It will analyze all town facilities and like the town website and town publications to make sure they're accessible to all people. Mm-hmm. The first step of the grant will be to assess our facilities, which is the evaluation. Second step will be to identify how to improve them and bring them up to code if they are not. That's the transition plan piece. Once those 2 are completed and we have a report done, we are then eligible for much larger money improvement grants to actually do capital repairs to facilities as needed for ADA accessibility.
Okay. Pete, questions?
Just a comment that's excellent. Thank you for getting the grant, and it's really something that we should be doing, clearly, and if it opens the door to more grants, all the better. I would move to accept the grant award and sign the contract.
Okay, second? I second. Selectman Peterson?
Yes.
Selectman Marcucci?
Yes.
And Selectman Murby, aye. Passes.
Selectman Murby and Selectman Peterson reported that they both attended the Parks and Recreation information session on the 6th.
I think the quick summary is that they were looking at 2 sites and asking us to evaluate the 2 sites. One is at the Dale Street School and FAF Center site, and the other is at the Medfield State Hospital, south of Hospital Road site. And I think the takeaway is that the hospital site has a lot more space and is adjoining existing park and rec fields, and that's the benefit there. The downside of the hospital is it's at the edge of the town. It's not centrally located where kids can walk to Hinkley Pond and other things in the downtown. Conversely, the benefit of the Dale Street site is that it is centrally located and people can walk and get to it easily, get to Hinkley Pond when the summer camp is going on. The downside there is that the site is constrained and you don't have as much space and you don't have as many fields. I think that my understanding is that when you have these indoor facilities, that the synergies with the outdoor fields are important and help them do better.
The Board of Selectmen then had to meet in executive closed session. Check out the full meeting on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. At the Dale Street School Building Committee meeting on the 8th of January, one action discussed was voting on adding a new school building committee member from the school committee.
The general feel was that the school committee wants to ensure that they've got representation at as many meetings as possible, and Leo's schedule, I guess, hasn't allowed for as much of that as he would have liked. So they have requested an additional seat on this committee, which I thought personally was a good idea, but I wanted to bring it to the committee for any comments. And basically, the recommendation this committee would make would be to, if so approved, would be to the Board of Selectmen that should be added to the committee. And then if they approve that, then it has to go to the MSBA. I don't see any issues with the MSBA. They generally let membership of the committee get to the town, so outside of the initial required positions.
Discussion revolved around adding Anna Mae O'Shea Brooke as a voting member or a non-voting member.
So there's a motion to add Anna Mae O'Shea as a member to the SBC, and with voting rights to be determined. So do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Regarding the preliminary design program, there was an update on the Educational Visioning Session Working Session 1 that was held on January 7th.
So we had an educational visioning workshop session with the greater group of educational planners, as well as parents and representatives from the town as well. That happened yesterday from 4 to 8. It was more gathering more information from the group as a whole. There were several exercises that took place to discuss, what the teachers and community envisioned for the new school.
Also during discussion on the preliminary design program, there was a site selection update.
We went down from that number of 50 down to the 6 sites that are listed here. And that was the Dell Memorial School site, the Helix School site, Hospital Hill, Sledding Hill, McCarthy Park, Redgate Farm, and then the Medfield State Hospital site. And from those 6, we further narrowed it down based on, requirements.
Other obstacles.
Obstacles, mostly legal designations.
Legal, yep.
Whether it was historical or Article 97, which is parkland.
Or the agreement with the state for the state hospital, zoning related to that.
So that narrowed it from those 6 down to back down to the Dale Memorial School site and the Wheelock School site, which is kind of, I think, where this whole thing started, but this document sort of proves that whole process out.
The committee reviewed the status of the preliminary design program requirements needed.
Property deeds on the sites that we end up, now that we've gotten to the 2 sites, we can do that. And we've already gone through the process of determining historic designations and other registrations for all the sites. So we're down to the 2 that don't have any of those parkland or historic designations. But we do have an issue on Wheelock and I think a portion of Dell Street being on an aquifer overlay protection area. So we pulled out all of the bylaw requirements on that and have asked a handful of questions to kind of narrow down what we can do on those sites. And then we started talking the other day about the capital budget statement oftentimes, you don't really have to provide this until the preferred schematic report, but I like to do it in the PDP just to give us some opportunity to, if we have to make any changes from PDP to PSR, that we'll have the time to do that with MSBA. Another thing that we do need to start to look at is a debt service analysis if you're going to go out for public, bond.
There was also a budget update during this meeting. For more details, you can watch the full video on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. There was a school committee meeting on January 9th, during which Susan Cowell, Wellness Department Chair, and Stephanie Worthley, Guidance Department Chair, gave a presentation on the results of the Metro West Adolescent Health Survey.
We had 1,313 respondents, so 94% of our students in grades 6 through 12 responded. Some students were absent, and students were allowed to have parents waive them out of participating, and students were allowed to not participate themselves. The content that's included on the surveys includes substance use, violence, unintentional injuries, things that happen when people aren't careful, but it's not intentional, symptoms of mental health and suicidality, dietary behaviors and physical activity, protective factors, things that help keep kids healthy, social media use, how students use their time, sexual behaviors. We've decided that we are going to send out tweets so that people in the community, we just have one more way of getting the message out there to people who are on Twitter. If we can get it to a broader audience, we're thinking that it'll just stay on people's minds more than just once every 2 years for a presentation.
Dr. Marsden gave a Dale Street project update to the school committee.
Going over site selection last night and having some conversation around what would be the best place to build a new school if we do build one. One of the things that we're doing in the next few weeks is looking at the grade configuration and seeing whether MSBA gave us the two options of 4-5 and 3-4-5 in the enrollment agreement. So we're going to get some feedback from teachers starting tomorrow. They'll get a survey, and that'll go to all elementary school teachers and all elementary school staff, and get some feedback from them on what are some of the opportunities, what are some of the challenges, what do we need to think about in terms of grade configuration, whether we change it or not. What does that look like? So get that information from them. And then the following week, which would be I think the week of the 17th, so the week of the 17th and the week of the 21st, we'll be sending out a similar survey to the community, to parents, and get that out as well, and try to get that same information around grade configuration.
There was also an FY21 budget update given at the meeting.
And we discussed, right now, we're at 4.02 with at our first pass. Speaking to Newton and the town administrator, they currently have us in their budget for 4%, so we're right on target moving forward. Most of our increase is going to be in payroll, which is, I think we said about $1.1 million of increase in payroll, which is the lanes, movement, steps, and COLA, so raises. And that includes all contracts that have already been negotiated. We currently have 3 contracts that will be open next year, so those 3 contracts have to be still negotiated, which is the secretary's contracts, the custodian, and the food service. All other contracts are included in the budget currently.
To view the entire meeting, you can watch on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. The second selectmen meeting of the month happened on January 21st. The Council on Aging gave a presentation regarding the need to build a garage at the center.
Why do we want to build a garage? We have 3 town vehicles, 3 buses down there that are out in the elements. We would like a place to house them. We feel that if we have a garage, the undercover, they should last longer. Secondly, the need for additional storage space down there. The other thing is that Fosse, which is the Friends of Medfield Seniors, has raised money, and it is, along with money they've raised and money that are available in certain funds that we have under the Council of Aging. We're not asking the town for any money to build this garage.
Part of what the question that would come with that is, and what's your projected maintenance costs, and what are you proposing, how do you propose that those maintenance costs be covered? And that, I don't put it that way to say, and don't dare say the town has to do it. I'm just saying whatever the scheme is, we need to know that too before we'd probably be prepared to make a final decision on the whole thing.
I move that we allow the Council on Aging to spend up to $5,000 for preliminary studies.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Passes. Thank you.
Mike Taylor presented news of a proposal for the Clark Tavern and discussion followed.
But the good news is that between the two meetings that we were having, we got a request from Dave and Rob McCready, and I must point out that the McCreadys, they're the ones that did the Avenue in town. They have a signed purchase and sale agreement with the current owner of the tavern. They plan to move the tavern, they'd like to move the tavern close to the road. It's obviously not cost economical just to renovate the tavern, so they have a plan to add some units in the back, bring the tavern close to the road, add some units in the back, and to do that, they're going to need ZBA approval.
Without knowing exactly what your design is, my guess is the town as a town would be happy to know that we've found a way to preserve the Clark Tavern. So at that level of the project, it sounds like you figured out a potential way to solve a problem that we've been wrestling with for years, and it sounds like the historic commissions agree with that. So there's no action on our part?
Nope.
Friends of the Medfield Rail Trail, represented by Christian Donner, requested permission to apply for a Mass Trails grant on behalf of the town. They also requested the selectmen vote to sign a letter of support for the grant.
We incorporated the feedback that we received from Amanda Louise last year that was mainly around connections to other trails and in-town connections, and we think we have a better proposal for this year. And the only other thing that changed was we have more money. We raised another $40,000 on our own, so we're at $72,000 right now, plus the $100,000, $170,000. If we get another $100,000, we think we can complete both phases of the scope that we had envisioned.
I would move that we authorize them to apply for the grant.
Is that the grant application, or is that what we have to just?
That's what we haven't read yet.
So I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're past the first part.
I would move that we write a letter of support for the grant.
I second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Okay.
Maurice Goulet, DPW Director, requested the Board of Selectmen review and approve a new street sign design.
A little over a year ago, we discussed possibly changing the street signs in town, making them all consistent, complying with NETCD, which is the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which uses the state standard. These demonstrations in front of you, the first is a green sign with the old town Medfield seal. The second page is with the blue sign with the newer town seal shown. Christine had contacted Rich DeSorder to kind of discuss which town seal would be appropriate for the town of Medfield to use. His recommendation would be the seal that's on the blue sign, the newer seal. And his question to Christine also was, is there a possible way of changing the signs from green to blue? There are no regulations that say we can't do that, but I wanted to bring it to your attention to see what your thoughts were and which way you wanted to go with these signs.
So he recommended the seal on the blue version.
The blue and the seal.
But
the blue and the seal.
So blue is the DeSorder recommendation.
Correct. Correct.
Is there a rationale for the blue?
Medfield blue.
He thought it was Medfield identity, and when you were driving through town, it would be nice to see Medfield blue on our streets.
If you'd like to view the full meeting, check it out on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. The second school committee meeting this month was the FY21 budget hearing held in the high school auditorium on the 30th of January. Dr. Marsden gave a descriptive overview of the budget, and the school committee and attendees were given the opportunity to ask questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'd like to welcome all the leadership team here. Thanks for coming out tonight. I know you're all real busy, so I appreciate you supporting the budget. And to our residents that are here too, thank you. So we're going to go through FY21 budget as it is today.
You can view the entire budget hearing on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. Also on January 30th, State Representative Denise presented her annual report to the community. She discussed legislative action taken in 2019, local community concerns, and priorities for 2020.
In the town of Medfield, we know that the Medfield State Hospital property and the plans and the vision for that has so much to do with how we are envisioning the future of Medfield. I want very much to be engaged in that work. But I will tell you that I am very thoughtful about what I think my role is. When I said we have a great team here in Medfield, I believe everyone has to play their team position. My team position is to wait for the pitch that Medfield throws when Medfield has decided how they want to move. And then I am at bat, and then the ways I can connect us to the state. So I listen very respectfully, and I am amazed at the process that Medfield has engaged in.
Watch the entire presentation on our website, medfield.tv, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. To stay up to date with all things Medfield, be sure to like Medfield TV on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, @Medfield TV. Lastly, don't forget to tune in to our cable stations, channels 8, 12, and 22 on Comcast, and channels 36, 45, and 47 on Verizon. Thanks for watching the January 2020 episode of Mupdates. See you next month. After the presentation, those who attended the meeting participated in a couple of activities regarding That's such a long sentence. I can't breathe. Thanks for watching the January 2020 episode of Mupdates. See you next month.
You're watching Medfield TV.